Hi everyone, my name is Bran and I'm one of the support team here at Nexudus. In today's webinar, we're going to be taking a look at the various ways you can use automation tiles in Nexudus. This webinar will last about 15 to 20 minutes and we'll be taking questions throughout. If you have any questions, please write them into the Q&A feature on Zoom. If you'd like to access the recording of this webinar or any of our other webinars, you can find these at help.nexudus.com. So what are automation tiles? They are effectively small tiles that you can place around your co-working space that can be set up to perform various actions when scanned. Each tile has a QR code and an NFC chip. Customers can scan the QR code or tap their phones against the tile to trigger a specific action relative to that customer. Automation tiles understand which customer is scanning each tile based on the Nexudus Passport or white label app that the customer will be logged into. For example, if you had an automation tile set up to start a booking, the system would recognize the customer currently logged into the Passport app on the device being scanned and would start the booking for that customer. If the customer scanning the tile does not yet have the Passport or white label app installed, they will be directed to your members portal login page. So let's have a look at how we can create automation tiles in Nexudus. For this webinar, I'll be using our new admin panel. If you haven't already, you can access the new admin panel via dashboard.nexudus.com. To get to automation tiles, we need to navigate to Settings and Automation Tiles. If you cannot see this option, it may be hidden behind the Advanced Settings filter, which you can toggle by clicking this button here. So, this page will show you all the automation tiles that you have created. You can also click the Audits tab here to view a chronological record of all the instances in which your tiles have been used by customers. If you ever needed to find out exactly who scanned a specific tile at any given time, you can come back to this list to find this information. If, for whatever reason, the actions set up with your automation tiles were to fail, you can identify exactly when and why this happened from this page. So let's create an automation tile. So we need to provide a name and specify the location in which this tile will be used. This text will appear to customers when they scan the tile, so this should make sense to them. For example, if we had an automation tile to check customers in, we could just say check in, for instance, or something like that. Next, we need to specify the action that we would like the system to trigger when a customer uses the tile. I will go through each of these actions briefly, and a bit later on in the webinar, we will go through a few different ways you can use automation tiles and the setup required. So, check customer in. This will simply check the customer into your space, providing the system can locate a valid pass on the customer's account. Check customer out will check them out. Check in at booking. This will check the customer into a specific booking. This function is linked with the booking setting require attendees to check in. For this function to work as intended, we will also need to enable the setting require customers to check into their bookings. We can find this setting by going here to Settings, Booking and Calendar Settings, and it's just here, require attendees to check in. Check in at event. This will check the customer into a specific event, providing they have a valid event ticket present on their account. Extend current bookings. You can use this action to extend a booking by a set amount of time. So for example, if a customer had a booking that was about to end, they could scan the tile to extend their booking by a specified amount of time. Make HTTP request URL. This action is used to request URLs from our servers. It's usually used for integrations and other internal functions. Mark resource as cleaned. This action will mark the resource as cleaned in our Nextboard app. This can be quite useful for cleaning staff to scan a tile as soon as they have cleaned a meeting room, allowing other cleaning staff to identify the rooms that have already been cleaned. None. This action can simply be used to deactivate a tile. If you did not want to take a tile down, but for whatever reason you needed to disable it temporarily, you would just change the action to none. Place or terminate a booking. This action can be used to start and stop a booking. For example, you could have this tile displayed within a conference room for customers to scan when they wish to start a booking, and then scan again when they wish to end the same booking. Whenever the tile action relates to a specific booking, you will be required to enter the resource ID. To find the resource ID, we just need to go to our inventory and then resources, locate the resource ID in question, and then we just need to take this string of numbers after resources from the URL. And we just copy that and paste it in here. This is how the system knows which resource to perform the action for. Place or terminate a desk booking. This works in a very similar way to the previous action, but is specific to a desk unit and not to a resource. For example, if you had multiple desk units linked to one hot desk resource via the floor plan, you could place a tile on each of your hot desks. Customers would then be able to scan the tile to start a hot desk booking specific to the chosen floor plan unit. Similar to finding the ID for the resource, if we select place or terminate a desk booking, it will ask us for the desk ID. To find the desk ID, it's a very similar process, except instead of going to resources, we're going to go to inventory list. This will show us all of our floor plan units and desks. So we can just click on a desk and get the string of numbers and the ID here and paste that in. Redirect user to URL. This will open a chosen URL when the tile is scanned. For example, you may have some sort of cafeteria menu that you wish for customers to access. You can set the tile to direct customers to a URL that contains this menu. This is a common process that became quite popular among restaurants in recent years. Show new booking form. This will open a new booking form and will pre-populate a desired booking resource. For example, if you wanted customers to scan a tile outside a conference room, that will bring up a new booking form for that conference room specifically, this is how you would achieve this. Unlock access control doors. You can use automation tiles with our various access control options. The tile can simply be used to unlock a chosen door based on the unique ID of the lock. We do not recommend you use this function to control access to critical areas of your space. QR codes and NFC chips can be subject to spoofing. This means that they could be potentially cloned by intruders accessing your space. With any automation tile action, you can also check the box to attempt to check the customer in. This will simply check the customer in alongside the chosen tile action. So, once you've created an automation tile, you may want to add further restrictions on how and when customers can use the tiles. To do this, we need to open up one of our automation tiles and take a look at the Restrictions tab. It's also worth mentioning on this page, you can also view the audit information for just this tile here. This will show, similar to what we looked at before, this will show all the instances in which a customer has used only this tile, as opposed to just viewing all of the instances together. Okay, so restrictions. Geofencing allows you to restrict customers to only be able to use the automation tile while in or around your space. This restriction should be used if you want to make sure customers are never able to use QR codes remotely. For example, if you had an automation tile set up to unlock a door in your space, customers would be able to take a photo of the QR code and scan the QR code to open the door from anywhere in the world. Geofencing will stop this. So how does this work? It's actually very, very simple. All you need to do is pinpoint a central part of your space on the map and then specify the radius in meters for customers to be able to use this tile. So for example, if you knew that your whole co-working space was about 100 meters squared, you could drag the location marker to the most central point of your building and then enter 50 meters radius. You can also add various customer restrictions to your automation tiles. Let's take a look at a few of these restrictions and how they work. Restrict tile based on which desks or offices the customer has contracted. You can use this restriction to force only customers that have been assigned specific floor plan units to be able to use the tile. For example, maybe you have a few private offices in which you offer a free cleaning service only to customers that contain private offices in their contracts. You could add the relevant office units into this restriction to stop other customers from being able to use this tile. Restrict tile based on ongoing bookings. This restriction can be used to only allow customers to use a tile when they are in the middle of a specific booking. For example, perhaps there was a conference room in your space where customers could order tea and coffee while in the middle of their bookings. You could create a tile that directs customers to a menu and a means to order drinks, and use this restriction to make sure that this tile will only work for customers that are in the middle of their conference room bookings. Restrict tile use based on customer plans. Similar to the first customer restriction, this can be used to force only customers that are signed up to specific plans to use the tile. An example of how you might like to use this restriction is alongside the tile action mark this resource as cleaned. If you had cleaning staff that you required to scan a tile after cleaning a specific meeting room, you wouldn't want any customer to have the ability to do this. You could create a staff plan for the cleaners called cleaning plan, for instance, and specify that only customers signed up to this plan can use the tile. Restrict tile use based on which passes a customer holds. Similar to the plan-based restriction, this can be used if you want to restrict access to the tile based on the passes a customer has on their account. For example, you may provide different types of passes to full-time customers and to customers who have purchased a single day pass. If you had a door in your space that you wanted your permanent customers to unlock via the tile, while restricting the day pass users from being able to unlock the door, you could use this option to achieve this. So now that we understand the basics, let's take a look at some example scenarios in which you can make use of automation tiles. Starting and ending a booking. If you are fairly flexible with some of your booking resources and do not require customers to book in advance, you can use automation tiles to both start a booking and end a booking. For example, let's say that you have phone booths that customers can use when they need to jump on calls. Perhaps you're happy for customers to walk in and use these booths without any prior booking, but you would still want them to pay for this. So let's create a tile for this. We'll call the tile phone booth booking. For the action, we can choose place or terminate a booking. And then, similar to the same process I showed you previously, we just need to go and locate the phone booth resource that we would have created, take the resource ID from the string in the URL as we looked at before, and just paste it in here. And that's basically all that you need to do. You can then choose to add further restrictions to that tile as we showed previously, but that's not a requirement. So, ask for help. If you wanted your customers to have a quick and easy way to contact staff members via your help desk function, you can do this quite easily via automation tiles. So let's set this up. We'll call the tile, in this case, we would call it something like ask for help. For the tile action, we'll change this to redirect user to URL. Now, we need to find the URL for our members portal help desk section. To do this, we need to basically either access a customer's account or log into the members portal. We just need to get to the front end members portal. So I'm just going to go to operations, members and contacts. We're just going to click on a customer here and click on access account. This will log us into the members portal as this customer. Now from this members portal, we can just go to support, help request. So now we have the link up here that will lead to the help request function. So we can just copy this link, go back to our go back to our automation tile, and we can just paste this in here. Now, when customers scan this tile, it will direct them directly to the page where they can ask for help and create a new help desk request, as you can see in my example here. So, open booking form. Rather than customers starting a booking as soon as they scan a QR code, let's say you wanted the QR code to open a new booking form for a particular resource. This could be placed outside a meeting room for customers to scan or read, then create their booking for that meeting room. So for this setup, we would call the name something like open booking form. And then for the action, we'll change it to show new booking form. And in exactly the same way as the other examples, we would just need to go find the resource and copy the resource ID into this field here. So once that's set up, when customers scan the tile, it will look something like this. It will open a new booking form and the resource will be automatically chosen. They'll just be required to enter their start time, end time, and confirm the booking. So once you have your automation tiles set up in Nexudus, you will need to get the physical tiles to link with the tiles that you have created in your platform. You can order tiles directly from us by contacting tiles@nexudus.com. All you need to do is let us know how many physical tiles you need for each of the tiles that you've set up in Nexudus, as well as your preferred color options. Alternatively, if you didn't want to use the standard tiles we offer and instead wanted to create your own, you can do. If you'd like to learn more about this, please also contact tiles@nexudus.com and ask for more information. If you wanted to use the QR codes and did not require customers to use the NFC tags, you can just print out the QR code images to use as you wish. You would do this by simply opening one of the automation tiles that you've created, and if you scroll down here, you can actually see you have a QR code image URL. This will simply give you the QR code for that tile. This is all well documented in the automation tiles section of our knowledge base. Hopefully you have all found this to be informative. If you have any further questions, we will be leaving the meeting room open for 5 to 10 minutes for you to post any queries you may still have. Thank you for taking the time to join us for this webinar today, and have a great evening.